Alright, so I'm out snowshoeing today, and I thought I would stop and take a minute to show you the kind of kit that I take with me on a snowshoe trip where, I'm not going to come back till probably after dark. So there's always a possibility you have to spend the night in the woods. And this is my get through the night sort of survival kit for a scenario where I'm snowshoeing in a really deep snow environment. So here in the winter where I live, up in the mountains where I go snowshoeing, it's not uncommon for snow to get 2-3 meters deep. So the kind of survival you do in that environment is a little bit different than the kind of survival you would do in an environment where you just have to get through like a foot of snow to find some solid ground. Or maybe there's even like trees you can use for shelter. If you look at these trees there, they're covered in ice and snow and they're just starting to frost over now. So I can't rely on a fire, so this is the kind of kit that I take with me. Okay, when you're packing a survival kit for a trip in the winter like this, your survival priorities are basically the same as they are in any other season. You need to stay dry or be dry, and you need to stay or get warm. It's just a lot harder to accomplish in the winter than it is in the summer. So thinking about those two priorities, what in your kit is going to get wet? Anything that you're wearing on the outside has a potential of getting wet, especially your pants and especially your socks. You're using your gloves a lot, so your gloves are almost certainly going to get wet. So first thing I carry is extra pair of gloves, always an extra pair of gloves. And these are a lot more insulated than the gloves I wear when I'm walking around because I don't need the insulation when I'm active. Now to help me stay warm, I pack up this nice down puffy jacket. It packs up so small. I'm wearing a nice thick sweater now, which is warm enough again when I'm active, but as soon as I stop being active, like even now I've only been here for a few minutes and it's already noticeable that I'm starting to get colder. So this nice warm down puffy jacket I take with me every time. It packs down to barely anything and it's extremely warm. Now for shelter, I carry a small bright orange tarp. Again, it's a survival situation, so I want to be seen. So a lot of the kit that I use is bright colored. So this small orange tarp, it's 2.1 by 1.5 meters. So that's 5 feet by 8 feet approximately, which is more than enough for a survival shelter in the winter. Again, the main shelter building material I have in a scenario like this is snow. So I carry this 2-piece snow shovel with me. Now this is the kind of shovel you would have if you're doing any backcountry stuff in the winter, skiing, snowboarding, hiking, snowshoeing, whatever. It's perfect. It's exactly what we need to dig a shelter in a hurry. I could use my snowshoe to dig a shelter if I needed to, but this doesn't really take up a lot of space and it weighs barely anything. So I'd way rather have this to dig with. Next thing I carry, talking about extra gear that's possibly going to get wet. Your socks get wet a lot, they get wet easy, and it's really hard to warm up when you're wet. So extra pair of socks to keep myself dry. Next is this little steel pot. It's a pot sort of cup combination. I can cook on it, I can drink out of it. It's small, doesn't take up a lot of space, and inside I carry my alcohol stove, which is in a bag in case the alcohol leaks out. Now, you could carry like an isobutane stove or some other kind of stove, but with isobutane, it stops working at around -8. So the alcohol will burn in any temperature. If it gets down to -20, I can still use an alcohol stove. So I'd much rather have the alcohol stove than an isobutane stove. And I learned that the hard way. Thankfully the people I was with had a propane stove that day and I was able to actually cook my food because my little isobutane stove didn't work. Paracord, survival pink. This is going to help me with my shelter building if I need to lash some branches together to get that tarp set up over top of the snow, or if I just need to stake something out, or if I need to use flagging to help myself get out. It's survival pink, because pink is the best color in a survival situation because it's visible in any condition. Orange paracord is good too, but in the fall, if you live in an area that gets orange leaves and things, it's going to be hard to see. So nothing in the fall turns this color, so you can always see the pink. Next up, I carry this, which it's a down blanket. This is uncompressed now. It compresses considerably smaller than this. I've used this blanket in plus 5 degrees Celsius without any heat source, and it's kept me warm with a good amount of clothing on. It's going to get colder than that if you dig a good snow shelter. You can alleviate some of that cold, but it doesn't take up much space. It weighs basically nothing. And this one has buttons on it, so I can wear it like a cloak. Alright, next up, thinking back to that staying dry, staying warm as your priorities, I carry an extra pair of puffy pants. Your pants when you're snowshoeing are going to get wet 100% of the time. So if you're wearing waterproof pants, that's fine, but an extra pair of pants in case your pants get wet is a great idea. These are insulated. They're just inexpensive snow pants you can get at like Walmart or something. They're not the best quality, but they keep you warm, and I don't need them to last forever or be durable because I'm only going to wear them once. I've never actually worn these for a long period of time. I did test them out to make sure they actually worked, but that's about it. And since I don't have a big sleeping bag and I might not be able to make a fire, these insulated pants are going to go a long way to keeping me alive. Next up, I carry a small saw. I don't need to cut huge firewood in a situation like this. I just need a saw for cutting limbs, cutting boughs, and this Vaco Laplander saw is more than enough for this scenario, the overnight scenario that we're talking about with our snowshoeing gear. Water, of course. You need water to live. And in the winter I carry my water in a plastic bottle. I like my single-walled steel or titanium bottle for the summer because I can boil water in it and drink out of it as well. But in a scenario like this, I would like to heat up water and put it in this bottle and then use the bottle to keep warm. And if you do that with a single-walled steel bottle, if you pour boiling water into it, it's going to be hard to touch. It'll burn your hands if you touch a steel container with boiling water in it. You can pick this up if there's boiling water in it with your hands, and you can keep it close to you, and it's not going to burn you if it touches you. And I find the water will cool down a lot slower in a plastic bottle than it will in a steel bottle or a titanium bottle or whatever you're using. So, plastic bottle for the winter. Now, I carried this small inflatable mat with me. You could, in most survival situations, most survival schools, you make bough beds to sleep on. That's great, they work. If you can get them thick enough, at least as thick as your hand after it's been compressed is a good amount of boughs to aim for. These boughs are all covered in ice. I don't want to spend any time walking around in the winter at night looking for boughs, making sure that I shake all the ice off. It's going to take a long time, and all that ice is going to melt when I lay on it. So I'd rather just bring a small inflatable mat with me that's going to insulate me better than 4 inches of boughs will. It takes 10 seconds to deploy instead of an hour of looking for boughs in the dark. And it folds up. You can see how small it is. Okay, next up, some of the smaller things I keep in my top pocket here. I carry an orange Mylar blanket, and this is mainly to use as a little ground sheet. That mattress that I have, the air mattress, is really small, so I'll put this down first, put the air mattress on top. These are like one use only Mylar blankets. Now this one's orange, which is great because I can use it for signals as well. And yeah, just a ground sheet. And you could wrap yourself in this, but it's mostly for me just to use as a ground sheet. Small first aid kit. This is the Adventure Medical Trek 1. So, and I've added a few things to this just to beef it up a little bit, but I just need it in case I may cut myself while I'm cutting the paracord or something like that. There's a couple burn things in here too. So just, your basic first aid kit. Nothing special. I don't have a tourniquet or anything because I'm not using an axe. Next I have my headlamp. It's an aluminum headlamp. It's super bright. It has red and white lights on it. Just a safety thing. If you're ever in the woods at night, a headlamp makes a huge difference. Not only for not getting more lost or hurting yourself, but also it's comfortable to have light and see in the dark because, you know, the woods are scary. I carry 2 more backups for fire starting. I carry my Yuko stormproof matches, and I also carry my good old ferro rod here. This is my Garmin InReach Messenger. It has an SOS button on it and a tracking option. Your SOS button will work. Search and rescue cannot always get to you. If there's a blizzard and it's dark out, they're not coming for till the morning probably. So it's not a fail-safe. You still need to carry survival gear with this. This will just help find you faster. These are something I don't see in a lot of kits, but are extremely useful. And these are these disposable chemical hand warmers. These ones are actually toe warmers. They're adhesive on one side, and you can stick them in your boots under your toes. And these work incredibly well. I use these ice fishing, and my feet never get cold. In fact, sometimes they get too warm with these on. But if you don't have a fire and you don't have a good sleeping bag, your toes are going to suffer. So these are perfect. They last all night and they keep your toes toasty warm. And these are the extra large mega hand warmers, and these are sticky on one side. So what you do with these is you stick one to your base layer on your chest, and you stick the other one to your base layer on your back, and then you put your jacket on over top, and that's going to make up for not having a warm sleeping bag or even a warm fire, and they're extremely useful. And then I also carry some survival hot chocolate. You get some hot water in that pot and make some hot chocolate or tea or something, and it's gonna help keep you warm as well, and also helps keep you happy. And then I've got my main fire lighting kit inside this little Ziploc bag, just so it doesn't get all over the place. Oh, take my gloves off for this one. And in that I have some pre-made fire starters. The tinder and anything that you would normally use to get a fire going in this environment is soaked in the winter, and it's covered in a foot of snow. So bringing a pre-made commercial fire starter instead of relying on finding one out here is ideal. And I carry a butane lighter, which again, once it gets to about -8 Celsius or lower, this butane lighter isn't going to work unless you warm it up. So even as little as keeping it in your hand inside your mitten or your glove is going to keep this thing warm, and then you'll be able to use it. So butane lighters do work in the winter. You just got to warm them up first. They will turn off after a while as the butane cools up again, so you might only get short bursts out of it, but a lighter is still the best option for getting a fire going in the winter. And I think that's it. That's my sort of 24-hour winter snowshoe survival kit. It's a lot of gear, definitely. A lot more than you think to carry in good weather, but the winter is extreme. The survival in the winter is hard. It's considerably harder than surviving in any other season. But with a little bit of gear and a little bit of knowledge, you can spend the night out here without dying, hopefully. Stay dry, stay warm, and get help. Signal for help or get yourself out the next day. Those are really your priorities. They don't change, they're just a lot harder. So I am going to pack this bag up and spend the day out snowshoeing. It's a beautiful day. It's almost exactly 0 degrees Celsius, which is perfect. Perfect weather for snowshoeing. And yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know what you keep in your 24-hour kit for extreme winter. This is basic stuff that anyone can pack some sort of variation of. Down stuff is great because it packs so small. Let me know what you pack. Let me know what you take. Let me know what I'm missing. This is my first time packing the bag for the winter, so I'm undoubtedly missing stuff. Actually, I just thought of something. I don't have my knife in here. So There you go, I'm missing my knife. So I'd normally carry a knife. I have just a Mora companion, plastic handle, plastic case, perfect bushcraft knife. I love it. It's my survival knife. I've used it a lot. I gotta put that in here. I think it's in my car. So yeah, let me know what you pack in your bag. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.